What is going on, guys? The difference is all gaming with my review of No Game, No Life episode 9. And this episode, it was freaking awesome. Sora, you are a bona fide genius, because that right there was such a brilliant game, and this guy made so many smart moves. I am so glad how Sora is such a brilliant character that he could think so many steps ahead of his opponent. It is just freaking amazing. But the episode is so, it starts off with like this little flashback that we've seen before, and we actually, like learn more about Shiro, because we see that she actually, kind of abandoned, when she was like first born, and she had like this superhuman intelligence. That right there, is pretty obvious because we see how smart she really is. But from the age of 2, she was so smart that she was playing all these games that they will call intelligence tests. And obviously, because she's so smart, she found all these games so boring. But when she got a little older, we actually see now that her mother and father, they actually returned, but this time Sora was like with them, and we all know, the story from there, because we see that that Sora was the guy. He was the kind to act and talk the way people wanted him to. And so we see that Shiro here, she was the one that like opened his eyes, because when she said that he was like really empty, that right there, first brought them together. And we see that, without Sora in her life, Shiro, sees the world in black and gray. Sora, actually brings the life and color into her world. So that right there, it's pretty freaking sweet. And so now we go back to present day, where we see that Shiro, she's now devastated because she has no idea what's going on, because obviously, like Sora should be there, but he's not. And she's the only one that can remember him, because Steph forgot him, and of course Jubilee. And so we see that Shiro, she was like freaking out, panicking, and she was like running around the place, looking for like some kind of hint. And she even went back to that little beat up house that they were staying in, early on in the episode. And so now we see she was like checking her phone, and she had no contacts, and the date itself, like 2 days had passed. And so now we have Jubilee, who was like telling us that it was Shiro who beat her, who made Steph fall for them, and who also beat Kurumi. So basically, it was Shiro who did everything, because Sora, right now, he's gone from everybody's mind, so obviously they won't remember him. And so until now we have Jubilee. She thinks that she has these like false memories inside of her, and she wants to play Shiro in the game so that she can bet them. And so now we have them playing chess. And obviously, like Shiro, she was having these like negative thoughts, saying that all of her memories were like false, and that it'll be better if she loses them. And right when she was about to lose, we see that Sora, at least in her mind, he appeared and stopped her, and he reminded her that blank never loses. And that right there, gave her the strength and courage to win. And not only that, it also brought the color back into her life. So obviously, Sora is definitely real, and she wants a way to prove that, because she's the only one right now that actually remembers him. So obviously she wants to find a way so that she could bring back, her brother. And so we see now for like most of the episode, they were like trying to figure out what was going on, because obviously they were here was like a very weird situation. And so Shiro, she actually arrived at the conclusion that a game must have been played and lost. And obviously, what was on stake for that game, it was one's very own existence. And so obviously, like we finally get filled in on what happened, and we have Kurumi and Sora. They were like playing the game. And at first we see, like Kurumi, Elfra, and Fee, she was like by her side. And we have Steph, Jubilee, and Shiro. They were all at Sora's side. And so now we see that Sora, he was now telling her the rules of the game. And I really don't know like the game they were playing. Like I do know that they said it, but right now it does like escape me for the moment. But obviously, like Sora, even though he was setting up himself to win, he actually had to lose. And we see now that when he does, well, technically, he doesn't lose because Sora did come in there and went for him because he had like this one very important role where their partners can actually play if the other, can't continue. So that's why when Sora did, like fade away, we still saw the game going on. And that right there, like really bothered Kurumi because obviously she should have won, but the game is still going on. And so now we see that when Sora lost, we saw that everybody's eyes, kind of changed, and like the life left from them, and that's how we ended up in the situation we're in now. But we actually see that Shiro, she had this like brilliant idea where she had Jubilee, like look to see if like any magic was being used in this room, and Jubilee did find some magic, but she cannot pinpoint the location of it. And so we have Steph now who was like walking around or walking down these steps, and she actually tripped down them. And so obviously we have Shiro and Jubilee. They're kind of like having like this like funny expression on their face while they're kind of like talking badly about her. And I also forgot that it was obvious that somebody was like definitely involved in this because we see that when Shiro had won that chess game, she actually was like fondling and had her face in Steph's chest, and obviously that right there really should have sent her heart racing, especially if it was Shiro was the one that told her to fall in love with them. So obviously that right there was like the first red flag, and not to mention that obviously something else was going on there. But I am glad that Steph definitely chose to believe in Shiro, that Sora was real. Like I do believe that maybe she did it for Shiro's sake, or it's possible that she actually like really did believe that Sora did exist, even with her memories of him erased. But we now go back to the present where we actually see Steph had fallen. We see that there are like the three pieces of the game that they're playing on the floor, and so obviously like Sora picks up on this immediately. Shiro picks up on this immediately, and she already knows what to do because Sora already set the field so that he could win instantly. And so these three pieces, these three pieces that actually contain a part of himself, or that contain themselves so Shiro can win. We learned that the first piece represented the way for her to win. The second one was for Sora's absolute trust in Shiro, and the third and final piece, it was for everything she is. And that right there was like really nice. And so we see now that when she does win, obviously Sora comes back. And it was just hilarious, how he was acting. And now we see that Kurumi, she passed out because obviously she had the memories. And I'm definitely, like kind of surprised that she didn't, fade away like we saw Sora do. But obviously now that they won, we have Fee here who kind of like panicking and defending her friend, which she has every right to do. But we see that she was kind of like getting ahead of herself because Sora didn't want to do anything bad, because he made copies of the memories so that Kurumi could come back. And now that both of them have been in each other's head, we see now that they actually come to a complete understanding, and we now see a much nicer, kinder Kurumi actually joins their side. And of course, because her and Fee are so close, that right there brings Fee to their side as well. And so we see now that Sora will have Fee, alter memories, and not only that, he will also, have her spy for him as well. And so now with these two allies, because Kurumi is good at games, she obviously cheats at them, but she's definitely good at them as well. And so we see that the Sora will like prepare himself to get hit by Shiro, because obviously he went a little too far with this, because they worked with her for quite a while now. And Shiro, was like apologizing to him because she was saying that she should have realized, much sooner. And so now we see like, this like touch and reunion between them. But eventually when they get a little bit too ahead of themselves, they fall to the ground. and we see that they were like planning something, or at least I thought that they might be planning something. But we have Kurumi, Fi, Sora, and Shiro. They all start crying, and that right there, was like freaking hilarious. But we have Sora here saying that he will like never do something like that again. So obviously, he did go too far, but at least he got what he wanted. And now we have these two powerful allies that will definitely be beneficial to them, conquering the world so that they can play against God. So like I said, this episode, it was actually pretty freaking good. Like, Sora is a freaking genius, man. I give the episode probably an 8 out of 10 because that was it. It's like how much I liked it. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And please do not forget to like the video and subscribe because that really helps me out. But you gotta take it easy. Now I'm gonna see you all next time.